Right, there we go. Hello, hopefully that's filming, you can't really see, but hopefully that's okay. So, hello everybody, welcome back. Today is episode 2 of bomb-proofing my spooky horse, which in the last episode he kind of embarrassed me a bit because I said he was really spooky, and then he did not care. But the thing is, he doesn't spook at specific things, he just gets really nervous randomly when we're out on hacks. So I'm kind of hoping that if I just show him that when he's with me, even if there's something scary, it's not actually scary, then he'll not be quite so spooky out on hacks. So I've got some plastic bags, and I've got my carrot stick. So there's this little loop. So I'm going to try and tie the plastic bags to that. So let's see how that goes. It is very makeshift, or DIY, handmade, I don't know what the word is. But let's see how that goes. And also, I lost the thing that connects the microphone to the camera. Hello?
You checked it's in C mode, so it continuously focuses.
In C mode?
On the front, it's on the front. So it's not C.
Yeah, it's on C.
Okay.
Is that good? I think that's good. Anyways, what was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, I lost the thing for the microphone. So I'm gonna have to sync the audio when I edit it. So hopefully the words "Hello Slim" match me. Right, this one doesn't have a handle. I'm gonna just poke a hole in it. I do have quite a lot of plastic bags, but the more the merrier. Yes, Slim, I'm gonna do stuff with you. I'm gonna chase you around with some plastic bags and traumatize you. Just kidding. The goal here is not to traumatize the horse. It is to make the horse trust you more. Right. I'm going to need some scissors, and I also need to get my treat pouch. I forgot about that. Ah! This is so annoying. Okay. Here we go. Let's tie that up. Lovely. Right, let me go get my treat pouch and my horse. Where am I going to do it? I think I'm just going to do it in the field. Are the other two going to be annoying? They might. I'm going to try with them next. They'll probably just ignore us. Right. What do you think? Maybe get some scissors, chop off the bits of bailiff twine, and then we'll start.
Okay guys, it is voiceover me here. So as I said before, I lost the thing that connects the microphone to the camera, so I recorded the audio separately, and then I tried to sync it up, but I don't know what was happening. It was just not having it. I tried so many times to do it. It did not work. So I think I'm going to try and do this video partly from just the raw camera audio. I'm going to try and edit it in the settings so that you can hear me as clearly as possible, and then the rest will just be voiceover. Because it was quite windy, so I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to hear me. I am very sorry. Okay, yeah, the wind is too loud when we're in the field. You literally cannot hear it. It's just the wind sound. So I'm going to have to do it all voiceover, which is a shame because I was actually saying quite a lot of interesting stuff, but I can't remember what I said, and I'm not going to voice over the words that I was saying. So I will try to explain as well as possible. So yeah, basically my aim was just for him to be happy, standing still, calmly, whilst I faff about with the plastic bags. Which to begin with, he was a little bit wary of them. But actually, he was so much better than I was expecting. I was expecting him to not even let them come within a metre of him. So, yeah. And something that I did notice while I was doing it as well is I do need to practice how I stand in relation to the horse, because obviously, especially if I'm going to start working with slightly bigger horses, Slim isn't huge, but, he's not small either. So if he did spook and run into me, it could be quite bad. So I do need to work on making sure that I'm standing in a position that if he does spook, I'm not going to get run over, or at least the chances of me getting squished are as low as possible. But luckily, nothing bad happened today, but it is something that I'm going to try and work on a bit more. Also, when he like spooks, it kind of makes me spook a bit, not like spook, but you know what I mean, because I'm like, oh, is he going to run into me? But then that kind of makes it worse for him. So I need to practice kind of just standing still and only moving when it's necessary, and like keeping my grip on the rope, and when I release the pressure, all that. I just need to improve my timing a little bit. I am a bit out of practice, but that is okay. Anyways, here you can see he was being quite good. He like would occasionally just step around, but that could partly just be that he thinks I'm asking him to walk around on the lunge. But like he was being really good. He wasn't doing any big spooks. He was being quite good and trusting. Oh yeah, also you might see that sometimes he kind of turns his head so that I'm on his other side. So I am working on getting him to just stay with his head on that side, because if he's kind of turning his head to one side of me but then his body is on the other side, if he spooks, he's kind of just going to run straight forward into me. So I want to make sure that if he's on one side, his entire body is on that side. Like, as you can see, he kind of turns, but that kind of makes me be in front of him. So I'm trying to get him to stand while I'm by his shoulder, and then even if he walks around, so that I'm still by his shoulder, if that makes sense. Because obviously it's very important that I am kept safe, even though I am wearing a helmet, and often I wear a body protector if I'm doing something that has higher risk of being kicked or run into or something. It's horses. You never really know what they're going to do. Anyways, the whole video is about half an hour long, and I would like to keep as much of that in as possible, but I can't really remember what I said, and I don't want to just leave you in silence, because that would be a bit boring. So I might put music for some of it, but I'm going to try not to cut out too much, but let's see. Often as I watch it, new things pop into my head of what to say. One of the things that just popped into my head was that today I was kind of doing a bit of a mixture of positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Actually, I don't know if there's like positive reinforcement, positive punishment, negative reinforcement, and negative punishment. I can't remember all the differences right now, but I was doing partly that I released the pressure when he stands still, so I kept it moving while he was kind of fidgeting a bit. Well, there actually was a bit of a bad example. Ignore that one. I thought he was going to like gallop off. But then when he stands still, I stop, but then I also reinforce it extra with a treat. So yeah, I think so far that is the best mixture, because it like reinforces to the maximum. Anyways, yeah, I did quite a lot of that, just him kind of walking around a bit, not like super terrified, but just practicing getting him to stand still super well no matter what I'm doing. I might put this in time-lapse a bit so you can still see everything, but it's not quite so boring, and then I will stop the time-lapse when sort of we go on to the next step, if that makes sense. I also did a bit of it touching his face, which some horses can be really scared of that when it goes in front of their eye, but actually he was super chilled with that, which is obviously awesome. I do a couple times just go and check that the camera's still recording, because it does like to just randomly stop recording on its own. It has a mind of its own, I know. Anyways, as you can also see, I'm being very mindful when I give him the treat, making sure he doesn't get into my space, asking for the treat, which he has been so good at this. He stands nicely, waiting for the treat to come to him, so I am so happy with that. Okay, I'm speeding this up again so that it's not quite so boring. I did a lot of different movements, doing figures of 8, circles, backwards and forwards, all around, so that he's calm with absolutely everything. And then whenever he stood still for just a couple of seconds, I would stop and give him a treat, and then just also rubbing it all over him. A couple times he did just kind of walk, but I just held it there until he stopped, and then release and give him a treat. And also you can see Chino and Mango decided to join us. In a minute you can see me kind of showing it to Mango. He was very scared of it. He was like, okay, goodbye. Anyway, I did a load more of just nonsense. He was starting to get really good at just completely ignoring my nonsense. Then I did like chucking it, and then I kind of walked around whilst waving it in front of him, which he was a bit confused. I think because often he kind of pushes in front of me, I use a whip in front of me to kind of shoo him backwards. He thought I was telling him to do that, but actually, no, today we still keep walking and we just ignore the plastic bags in front of us. And then I also made sure to do it all over around his legs and stuff, and in places where he might not be able to see quite so easily that might give him a bit of a fright. Behind him, by his back legs, just kind of all underneath him and in those nooks and crannies. And then I started trying to see if I can get him to stand while I go behind him with it. Which again, it can be quite confusing because a very common command is that you teach your horse to turn their back end away and turn to face you when you go in that position. So he is really going to have to learn the difference between the slightest subtle commands when I'm asking him to turn or when I'm just telling him to stand still and ignore my nonsense. So I did do quite a bit of this. I started off quite small, just literally when he stopped moving. But by the end, I do think I was getting a bit better. So I'm just going to put some music and you can watch all of this.
We were sparks on quiet streets, two hearts finding where to meet. But life pulled us apart, left me talking to the dark. If I called you tonight, would it feel the same? Or have we both moved on to different names? Take me back to the start, before the quiet and the scars, when the world felt small and your hands felt warm. Take me back to the start, if only for a moment. I've been up since 3, scrolling back what we used to be. Half truths in this late night chat, both of us knowing what a lie that. Funny how we talk like we're fine, but your name still lives in my rhyme. Take me back to the start, before the quiet and the scars. Take me back to the start, before the quiet and the scars, when the world felt small and your hands felt warm. Take me back to the start, if only for a moment. If only for a moment. If only for a moment. Take me back to the start, before the quiet and the scars, when the world felt small and your hands felt warm. Take me back to the start, if only for a moment.
Okay, everyone, I am back. So yeah, then I just did, sorry, why am I sounding so weird? Then I just did a bit of practicing getting him to stand, because that is something that he's always not been too great at when he's tied up, just standing still. He's always quite fidgety. So I thought a good challenge would be to just get him to stand still whilst I groom him in the field, and also without eating. So that was super good. Anyway, then I did one mounting block practice just because I wanted to, and it was right there, and like, why not, girl? But yeah, that is pretty much the end of the video. He was really good. I am really happy with this session. It was a bit of a bummer about the microphone thing, but I made it work with a voiceover. So make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!